Hi guys, it's Beth. Welcome back to my channel. And today I just wanted to share you the last round of cards I made from the Pinkaboo pad that is from Craftsmart, and I've been working on this pad. I started it at the beginning of September and finished it right at the end of October. I just came in just under the wire, and I've already done one card share, and this last card share, I finished a few of them up right before we went on our camping vacation, and then the rest of them I finished when we were camping. And I have a camper crafting series that I will link the videos to in the description box below as well as in the cards. And I do share a little bit of my process from when we were camping just because people had asked about that, but it was really hard to film my process when we were camping. And so it's not a full process, it's just kind of snippets here and there, but I will include links to those in case you would like to check them out. But here are the last round of cards that I made. I have a set of note cards that I made using the pretty pastel leaf paper. And so throughout most of the Pinkaboo pad, I worked with the pinks and the purples and a little bit of the aqua. But towards the end, I was kind of running out of the shades, pinks and purples, that matched the paper. And so for this one, it actually had yellow in it, so I decided to go ahead and take advantage of that and just brought in some yellow cardstock from my stash. And actually, it's not even like a real cardstock. It's more of it's a thinner paper, you know, like the big packs of 180 sheets of paper you can get at both at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And it's that thinner pattern paper. That's what the weight is. It's just all solid yellow. So since I was layering it on a card front like this, I decided to go ahead and just use it here. And then all I did on these was I have Happy Fall Sentiment, which I printed out from my silhouette, and just put that as a fishtail coming off the left-hand side. So there are 6 of these. Just thought that would make a cute little fall note card set. Obviously, it's getting too late for that this year, but can always be used next year. And then this is Freshly Made Sketches, $4.19. And I was trying to focus on using the really pretty pumpkin paper with the gold foiling on it. And so I had a full sheet, I guess it would have been 2 full sheets of the stripe, the aqua stripe. And so I cut those down to be my card mats and then just used the pumpkin paper that I cut at an angle. This pink strip here with the gold polka dots was just a border cut apart Hello Pumpkin I printed from my silhouette, and then I just used a die. It's actually a Halloween stamp and die set, but I liked the little pumpkin die. I thought that would be cute with the swirls kind of to go with the pumpkins on the paper. So there are 4 of these, and then 2 of them I ended up doing. I was out of the pumpkin hello pumpkin sentiments, and so I had some Happy Fall left, so I did that, and then just included some little gold leaves as the embellishment for those. This is the Deconstructed Sketch number 129. Real simple, just some brown. I ended up pulling some brown cardstock in as well, and just took some of the leaf pattern paper, rounded the corners, and this one I ended up doing. I have measurements on this one, that the rectangular piece in the center is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and then I just rounded the corners. And then my strip going across is like 1 inch by maybe 3 3/4. And you can tell they're different. My strips going across are a little bit different width just because I was trying to use whatever I had left. So that's usually how I roll. This one is Operation Right Home sketch number 218. Again, working with that really pretty pumpkin paper, and I had some of the pink stripe background left, so I used that as a card mat, and then just brought in some aqua cardstock. And then these are just some circles I punched out of some of the gold foil cardstock that I had and have used periodically throughout this pad. And then there's just a smaller Hello Pumpkin sentiment, and then this time I used Happy Fall on that one. Thought those came out pretty. Here's another note card set that or just a card set that I made. This one is Merry Monday, sketch number 62. And so for these, I just have kind of an aqua cardstock card mat, and then I use that, again, that pastel leaf paper with pinks, purples, and yellows, and aqua. I used a border strip cut apart up here with purple, and then I took some pink cardstock to put on, or to mat my sentiment circle with, and then I used the same pink cardstock and die cut some leaves out of that, just so it kind of tied in with the pink. Since I was using a bunch of different colors here, I just wanted to at least repeat one of those colors once. So I have like 6 of these, and then they just different shaped leaves. I have 2 different shaped leaves dies, so I have 2 different shaped leaves on these cards. This is Mojo Monday, sketch number 451. And this, I was just kind of using whatever I had left as far as cardstock and pattern paper, like whatever big pieces of pattern paper I had left. So I didn't necessarily worry about what size this rectangular piece was, as long as it fit on the card with a border around it. I was just trying to use it all. And so on this one, I just have like a lighter pink card mat. I had some purple embossed paper left, so enough to punch a circle out of. And then the circle, like you trim off part of the edge here, so that's flush with that side. And there's that Hello Pumpkin sentiment again. I think that's my favorite sentiment that I've printed on from my silhouette in a while. This one, it just has brown background, pink circle with Happy Fall and the leaves. And then this one is a yellow card mat, pink circle with the Happy Fall. So again, when I'm making my cards, and I kind of, each time I reevaluate what I have left, and in the camper crafting video, part 2, I did resort all of my scraps at one point so I could see what I had left, and I focused on using those bigger scraps first, and looked for card sketches that I could use the most of those bigger scraps. This one doesn't have a name, but it's SC355. I take that back. SC355. But all of the card sketches, as usual, will be linked in the description box below. This one, I jumped back to Halloween, used a piece of the skull border strip cut apart, just a little scrap strip of this purple pattern, and then this was just kind of a piece I had left. So this one was just kind of a hodgepodge of different scraps that I had left. And then next sketch is Mojo Monday, sketch number 361. I love this one when I have like bigger pieces that I can still cut into squares. So here I pulled in some of that gold foil cardstock as my card mat, just to play off the gold in the pumpkin pattern here. I had some pieces of that pink stripe left, so it's my back layer of the squares, and then Hello Pumpkin is my sentiment, and then this is another one of those pumpkins that I die cut from that Halloween stamp and die set, and this gold polka dot pattern was just some little scraps I had left from other projects. It was just trying to use up those pieces. So I did 2 of those, like exactly the same. This one is my favorite thing, sketch number 352. And this one was just trying to use what I had left. So I think this is one big panel of this leaf paper, but I'm not sure. But then this is a strip that I had left of the purple embossed paper. And I had put this pink on here, And then also was trying to use up this little happy fall leaf sentiment and realized it was still kind of plain, but this is when I was in the camper. And so I had some brown cardstock on the table, and so I just cut some strips to go across here. It could probably use something else with it as well, but I forgot to, there were some cards where I couldn't finish until I came home, either because I needed a specific sentiment that I didn't have with me, or I needed, enamel dots or something that I didn't take with me. And so I tried to keep those separate, but I forgot to pull this one out. So right now it is what it is, but. And then this one I just made I didn't have a sketch, was trying to use up some of the scraps. So I used that yellow paper for my card mat again, and a bigger piece of this leaf paper. And then this is that same leaf pattern, but it's got smaller images because it was a border strip cut apart. And it had a little gold foil strip. So I just left that gold foil strip on there, and then backed my sentiment with that same yellow that's the card mat, and then pulled in another leaf die that I die cut out of the gold foil cardstock this time. So this is TSSC 338. And these, I think I have one big square back here that I just covered the center with this purple strip. I don't know if that's what the sketch originally intended, or if it was supposed to be like 3 separate strips. I think I've done it in the past using 3 separate strips, but was trying to find a way to use up some of these strip pieces I had, and I also had some bigger pieces left, so I'm just going to use one big full square and then kind of break it up down the middle with that purple web pattern strip. But then, and I had this on black because again I was running out of like pinks and purples for card mats, and so I put it on black, but then realized it didn't pop very well, and I was low on white cardstock because I think I had only taken enough, like I took scraps, I didn't take any big pieces. And so I just kind of added this back here, and just so it could peek out and break up the colors a little bit. And then this is one of the glitter spiders that I had and used up in finishing up these cards. So here's another one with pink, and this time I did use a full piece of white behind it, and just because there were 2 shades of pink, I didn't want them together. And it almost looks like that was actually the back side of a patterned paper too, and it's not like normal white cardstock because it's a different shade. So that's also, I've said that before, especially with this pad, because I got so tired of the skulls that I used a lot of the skull paper. I would turn it over and use the backside as white, either for matting or for stamping. So that is always a way to use up some of that paper that you really don't like or can't figure out how to use otherwise. This one, again, no sketch, just was using the scraps that I had left. Had this bigger piece, which was cut down from one of the 12 by 12 like full page images. I had kind of chopped it up. And so I had this piece left, and then just threw on this little strip here with the gold foil webbing, and then my sentiment, and then I added one of those black glitter spiders, and then decided I need to pull the black through, and so I just added 2 little circles up here, which are just punched out of some black cardstock that I had. Here is my favorite thing, sketch number 61. And this one, I was able to use some brown cardstock just because there was some brown in the stems of the pumpkins, so I thought I would take advantage and use brown to kind of help my card mat stash go a little bit further. And then just use scraps of the pink and like all the different patterns that you see. And this pink that's behind my sentiment is actually pattern paper as well. It was part of like a larger image, and it was just like a solid area of solid pink. So I just used that to match my sentiment. This one is Operation Right Home, sketch number 32. Here again, just using bits and pieces. I don't think I had any more of the pink, or I didn't want to use the pink, I don't know. But I pulled in yellow to mat my other layers, even though the pink was my card mat, and then this purple strip with the gold little stars or whatever you want to call those. That's just a border strip cut apart piece I had left. And then this one, I was trying to use up some of the Halloween patterns, and I don't think I had any full black pieces left to use as a card mat. So I decided to just put it on a white card base, but then mat the individual pieces in black. And I don't even think that this piece that goes behind my strip here, I don't even think that black piece goes all the way across. I think I just matted it. I only had enough to mat like part way, because I knew I wanted this big rectangle mat to be a little bit bigger. This Happy Halloween sentiment, actually I cut out of some packaging from Halloween embellishments that I had finished off the month before. And so we just decided to go ahead and use that up, and then just added some little circle punches from black cardstock. This one is Paper Players sketch number 80. Just used up 2 scrap pieces, pulled in some yellow just to break up the pinks, and then Happy Fall. That actually is a stamp that was from the Teresa Talks Fall stamp set, I think, from Scrapping for Less. This is Reverse Confetti sketch number 27. Here is just using bits and pieces and trying to kind of piece together some card mats. So I have pink and turquoise, and I probably should have covered like where they meet, but I didn't think about it. And then this is a full rectangle of the pumpkin paper, and then just used another Hello Pumpkin sentiment. This one I used 3 different pieces of cardstock trying to piece together a card mat. Just used a strip to kind of cover where the pink and this mauve color meet. And then it did have a full sheet of the pumpkins, and then there's that Happy Fall stamp again matted on that kind of mauve color. Because, like I said, I finished a lot of these up while I was camping, and so I didn't have access to just like look for more cardstock in my stash. I was working with what I had, and so trying to Frankenstein together some card mats. This one, did I show the sketch? Operation Right Home sketch number 44. It's actually very similar to Operation Right Home sketch number 32, just kind of different size pieces and oriented differently. And I still ended up turning mine horizontal anyway, but had a lot of this leaf paper, a lot of the leaf paper left. And so I was trying to use that up. Again, just used 2 different colors of pink back here for the background, and then the card mat, and I had some little scraps of that mauve color left, so I just pulled it into the rectangle there with a little fishtail. And then this one is my favorite thing, sketch number 286, and used a full piece of that leaf paper as my card mat, and then just pulled in 2 strips of cardstock. I was really trying to use up some of that cardstock scraps that I had, so I just put those in. Since I had a patterned mat, I'd used solid colors for my strips here, stamped the Happy Fall, and then just used some white cardstock circles to add just a little bit of extra embellishment over there. So now we're getting into the cards I made using the My Favorite Things collage, like cover-up dies, and these were ones that I had die cut everything before I left for vacation, so that when I was camping, all I had to do was kind of piece them together and glue them together, and that made it like really easy to get these put together pretty quickly. And so I did share a process in my camper crafting series part 2. I did show like how I sorted them and then how I put these cards together. But this first batch is using the Stitch Collage frame die from My Favorite Things, and just kind of piece together. One thing I didn't realize until I was trying to sort them out is that these 2 boxes right here are bigger than or longer than this one in the middle. So like all the pieces weren't necessarily interchangeable like I was thinking, but it still worked out fine. So I have this fall version, and when I was die cutting these before I left, I was going through like scrap pieces and trying to use up some of the strips that I had and some of the smaller scrap pieces just to kind of make it go faster trying to use these up. So here's the Halloween version. I had a Boo Y'all sentiment left, and then pulled in one of my foam ghosts. And then here's another fall version, and You Are Magic is something I'd fussy cut out of another image earlier on, and then just ended up decorating it with 2 of those pumpkins. And something interesting I wanted to note here, for some of the frames, the stitched frames, I ended up cutting down some gold, of that gold foiled cardstock. And so when you cut out the frame is only like 4 by 5 1/4. So the strips that I had cut down to die cut out of, I think were like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, or maybe a little bit bigger. I don't remember. I guess it would have had to been 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, because it covered, it's the exact same size as my card front. So I thought this one, I didn't necessarily want the white on the white, but I didn't have any other cardstock, and I had kept these frames that were scrap, essentially. I had kept them in case I needed them, for something, and I did find a use for one here. I put the frame down and then laid my stitched frame on the inside. So this is not gold foil cardstock behind all of this. It's literally just a frame that goes around. So that was a good use of scraps there. So the next die I have is the horizontal collage cover-up die. And you can see, like, I always keep all the insides that come out when I'm die cutting out the frame, thinking I'll use them somewhere. And so this one, I was able to use some smaller strips, and it cut out some smaller squares. And for the most part, these are interchangeable. So that made it nice when I was trying to sort, figuring out what I wanted to put in each card. Here, just used a Happy Halloween sentiment that I think I printed from my silhouette, and then embellished with 2 of the glitter foam spiders. This one is a fall version. And again, you can see I've just pulled in a bunch of different scraps. It says Hello Pumpkin, another fall. I had a lot of the little fall scraps left. And then the last die that I used is it's just called the Collage Cover-Up die for My Favorite Things. And I think this was the first one I had bought, and then saw that they had come out with some other ones, so I wanted to snag those too. But so here I have a gold frame, and this is not a stitched frame. This one is just kind of a solid frame. And again, just pieced together a bunch of the little squares that I had pre-die cut, and then pulled in 2 of those little pumpkins that I had also die cut earlier. Another Halloween. And Happy Halloween, again, that was I had printed that from my silhouette. This one, I believe I actually finished on camera in my process video. So Happy Fall, I had cut it down into fishtail and added it, to this card, since it was a printed sentiment and not something I could stamp directly on that yellow piece behind it. It's another one, just kind of general fall, and then one more. Again, just using bits and pieces that I had left. And then, bear with me, I have one more handful of cards here. This is Freshly Made Sketches, number 21. Just used a bunch of strips that I had left. And I just had printed some things full and blessed sentiments when I was printing something else out from my silhouette. So at least I got to change it up just a little bit. Instead of just doing Happy Fall or Halloween, I made these. I can always send these out for Thanksgiving, some very non-traditional Thanksgiving colors. But again, was just using strip pieces that I had left, and then pulled in some circles that I punched out of some cardstock scraps as well. So all of these are I think all of the ones that are left are scrap cards. So I always have a ton of strips left at the very end, and so just kind of saved them all and tried to use them up all at once. This is Operation Right Home, sketch number 143. Just pulled in, I had two different strips here, so I alternated them between leaves and pumpkins. Had enough of this dark purple cardstock to punch a scallop circle out of, and then there's that thankful and blessed sentiment again from my silhouette. I haven't done one of these in a while, and this doesn't have a name, it just says it's page maps, but I like how it kind of weaves the strips together, and I'd found the sketch a long time ago and used it, I've used it in the past, it's just been a while. I would have loved to have put this on some cardstock for, like a cardstock mat. But again, this was camper crafting and I didn't have any left that went. And so just went ahead and left it white and kind of weaved my pieces together. Kind of did them differently for both of the cards. It just kind of depended on the pieces that I was using. And then I did have a Halloween stamp set with me, so I stamped Happy Hauntings on this one and then Happy Halloween on this one, just because I didn't have as much space at the bottom as I did on that one. Next is Viva la Verve. It just says February week 3 from 2012. Pulled in some strips and just kind of alternated two different strip patterns here. And then with the boo and the eek words, that gold scallop was already there from being a border strip. So just use some gold foil cardstock to back the skulls here. And then I also used some gold foil to mat my circle sentiment. And then this ghost was just a ghost I had in my stash that I had cut out from my silhouette at some point. And then I did use a black marker to draw on some eyes and a mouth, but I was trying to use him up at some point. And then I have these three, which use this sketch from, it just says Where Creativity Meets. And Happy Halloween, I had fussy cut out of another image at some point from this pad. So just took three strips and then alternated the two different patterns. And then this pink was an actual pattern from the paper pad. It just happened to be more of a solid colored pink. And then added some circles down here that I had punched from either cardstock or the patterned, more of the solid pink pattern, just to kind of tie in all the colors. And there's another one of those cute little googly-eyed ghosts out of foam. Same with the sentiment, just some different strips included here, and another ghost. And then this one, I had another set of stickers that were glittered spiders, but they were not foam, they were more of flat, and they came with some silver webs. And so I decided I had this Happy Halloween sentiment that I had printed from my silhouette and punched into a circle. And I think looks like it might be 1 3/4 inches. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to put behind it and then what I wanted to embellish. And since all three of these strips are like more of a web pattern, or it's hard to tell from those little strips. And so I was trying to incorporate spiders, and I saw this web and thought, I wonder if that would fit if my sentiment would fit in the center of there, and sure enough it did. So I decided to use that kind of not just as an embellishment, but as the mat for my sentiment, and then pulled in 2 of the black spiders. And so these spiders aren't quite as cute as the little googly-eyed foam ones that I had, but still I think it's not like scary or anything because you're using silver glitter web and, pretty colors. So that's what we're going with anyway. And then 2 more cards. This one is My Favorite Things, sketch number 217. And border strips. We're still trying to use up some of the border strip cut aparts. And again, this one had the gold foil scallop on it already. So I just used those and kind of alternated the patterns and then also the lengths of the strips here, and then stamped Happy Fall and backed that in pink. And I don't think I said it, but that's My Favorite Things, sketch number 217. Sorry if I forgot that the first time. And then my last card here, it's Operation Ride Home, sketch number 38. And again, strips. This time I pulled in some cardstock as well, and then Happy Halloween is a sentiment I had printed from my silhouette, and I just backed it on some of that mauve. And something that I didn't state earlier, but all of my cards do have scraps on the inside just to decorate, and so that is something I think I shared in my camper crafting video number 2, or part 2, where I had a pile of scraps left and was saving those to try and use on the insides of the cards. And I think I used all but like a tiny pile. Like there was still some like teeny tiny scraps left that I didn't add on the inside. So I feel pretty good about, you know, being able to use up the pad. And next will be my pad wrap up. So stay tuned for that, and there's a few projects, that kind of small projects that I did along the way that I haven't shared yet, so I will share those when I wrap that pad project up. And the sketches will be linked in the description box below, as well as the 3 My Favorite Things dies that I used. But if you guys have any questions on anything, let me know. Otherwise, thanks again so much for your time, and hope you're all having a crafty day.